Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I explain the material, I want to introduce myself first. Okay, my name is Nadiyya Mahira, and I'm from class 3 of English education. And here I will explain the material about the culture. The first is, what is culture? Some people claim that humans essentially have two sides, a cultural and a biological one. This is also what many claim to be the main distinction between human and animals. Both human and animals are biological beings. However, only humans have culture. Humans' culture is a very broad subject of study and include many aspects of society. Within the field of anthropology in 19th century Europe, culture was defined in a very broad sense as can be seen in the quote below. In the definition above, culture is defined as human civilization, which means that beside from art, moral, custom, and anything else made and acquired by men in a society, should be seen as a form of culture. Since culture is acquired by the human, the educational system has a major part in creating as well as preserving the cultural values of a society. Needless to say, human civilization has undergone great change since the time of Taylor. Recent discussion concerning culture evolved around how a country's culture should be defined in our increasingly global society, in which people are more mobile than ever before. Some of the most prominent aspects of cultural in the globalized world are, for example, monoculture, where immigrants should adapt to host country culture, or in multicultural society, where different national groups should be able to preserve their own culture and consist with the native of the country. Culture can be defined as all the ways of life include art, beliefs, and institutions of a population that are passed down from generation to generation. Culture has been called the way of life for an entire society. As such, it includes codes of manners, dress, language, religion, ritual, and art. Like example, norms. Norms are informal, unwritten rules that govern social behavior. So there are language, festival, ritual, and ceremony, holidays, pastimes, food, and architecture. Next, secondly is target culture versus source culture. The first is, what is target culture? Is concerned the cultures belonging to English-speaking countries. International culture is related to cultures that do not belong to the source culture or the target culture. So secondly, what is source culture? Source culture refers to the culture of teacher and learner, which in the paper is the Indonesian culture. Okay, next. So, what culture should be taught at EFL classroom? Defining culture as a concept in an educational context, culture is one of the two or three most complicated words in the English language. Williams, 1983, part of 87. Since this study concerns culture in an educational context, a model adapted to this purpose has been used. The model below will be used as a framework throughout the essay. The concept culture is understood through a model construct by Adasco, Britton, and Fassi. In 19 and 19, part of 3 till 10, this particular view on culture was chosen because a more pragmatic and unambiguous definition of culture was required. Furthermore, it provides that research with appropriate analytical tools that could be used in theory as well as in the analysis. Okay, next. In recent years, there have been more discussion and research focusing on the importance of intercultural sensitivity and intellectual communicative competence. EFL teacher should not just draw learners' attention to fact about the other cultures, but they should teach in such a way as to make it clear the communication is more than the exchange of information and opinions. Effective intellectual communication requires empathy, respect, openness, and sensitivity. It's very important first to raise student awareness of their own culture, and in so doing to interpret that and understand the other cultures. Raising intellectual awareness implies the development of skill for successful communication, competent and peaceful interaction with people who are different from us. Such an approach assigns another important role to the foreign language teacher or learner, that of intercultural mediator, someone who is capable of critically reflecting on the relationship between two cultures. EFL teacher will be challenged to exploit this situation by creating opportunities for communication based on the values, cultural norms, and needs of learners, rather than on the syllabi and text or textbooks developed in native speaker communities. Most importantly, an intellectual language learning program should help the learners to develop an intellectual awareness in order to translate culture in their own context. Wilhelm, 2002. Maybe that's enough explained by me. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.